Joining me now is Lisa Collins. She's an Asian Affairs Analyst at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Always a delight having you in, especially on a cold night like tonight. We appreciate you coming in. Let's talk about the speech by the DPRK leader. It seemed like a dual message, one more conciliatory towards the ROK, a tougher tone with the United States. What do you make of it?
So I think, as some experts have speculated, this may have been an effort by North Korea to perhaps weaken the U.S.-South Korea alliance. That's one perspective you could take. The other could be that North Korea sees this as a process that could eventually lead to reconciliation between North and South Korea, and then ultimately could lead to talks with the United States as well.
Jim Walsh of MIT is also a Korea follower, watches this, and earlier today he said, I'll be happy with the DPRK talking with anybody right now, because there's a lack of dialogue, as we well know. But what can really come out of this in terms of concrete steps, do you think? I mean, is it just one of these things you get together, you have discuss a few things, or can we really see some headway here?
Well, I think it's a little too early to tell yet. I mean, there have been several opportunities where South Korea and North Korea have, proposed talks, but never actually sat down with each other for a meeting. So I think it's still a little early to tell. They have to agree on the format, who will participate in the talks, and then ultimately what the talks will be about. But I think there is some hope that this could eventually lead to a thaw between the two Koreas, which they have had tense relations since last year, or 2016, early 2016, when the Kaesong industrial complex was closed. So since that period has been very tense, I think this is the first real, perhaps, olive branch or opportunity that North Korea has presented to South Korea to create the thaw.
Talk to me about President Moon, because he's kind of in a bind here. I mean, the DPRK wants one thing from him. The U.S. wants another thing. Obviously, with THAAD deployment, China wants another thing. And he's got to try and navigate all of these relationships.
Yes, he's faced with a lot of very tough choices, I think, going forward. He obviously campaigned before he became president on this platform of improving North Korea-South Korea relations. So he has that focus and goal in mind as a long-term objective. But he's also got to make sure that he's in lockstep with the United States and the U.S.-South Korea alliance, particularly with regard to the upcoming military exercises, U.S.-South Korea military exercises. They have to discuss whether or not they're going to move the exercises or whatnot. And so it's a challenge for him to deal with all of these different perspectives. And then also we've got the Chinese perspective on North Korea as well. That's difficult.
An NBC reporter who covers the Pentagon posted this on Twitter. A ballistic missile launch by North Korea is possible, if not likely, in the coming days, according to military officials. What's interesting, though, is I saw your breakdown where you looked at provocations, and it seems like the winter months, it doesn't happen. In fact, in January of last year, we didn't see any at all. So I want to get since you're one of these people who analyzes this sort of thing, do you think it is likely, or are we likely not to see much activity coming up?
Well, that's quite right. According to our studies, the winter months, November, December, January, are typically not times when North Korea launches a lot of missiles. I think there are a lot of reasons for that, but I think it really depends on what North Korea's objectives are here in launching another missile. I think if they did launch another missile, it would obviously throw cold water onto this proposal for dialogue. But if they have a clear testing objective, if they really need to, achieve one more step in their nuclear weapons program or their ballistic missiles program, and they feel this is the right time to do that, then there may not be a way to stop them. But obviously it would impact the proposal for dialogue.
Yeah, it certainly would. Lisa, always a pleasure having you in. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
Great to be here.